Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I'm really sad to bring some really sad news to you guys. I don't know if you guys follow, but today Kobe Bryant, who's a former NBA star, a guy that everybody in here should know, Kobe Bryant has died. It's I just Alicia actually came downstairs and told me that Kobe died, and we were both kind of shocked and really taken aback by this. From what I'm reading, Kobe was killed in a plane crash or a helicopter crash, excuse me. And a lot of details haven't emerged yet in terms of who was on the helicopter, stuff like that. You said there were how many? Five people. So five people that were on the chopper. I guess I don't know if any of those people were family. I can say this. I think it's heartbreaking, to hear that he died because he was an old man. He was 41 years old, from what I understand. And what's interesting is that just yesterday LeBron just passed him on the scoring list because LeBron's playing for the Lakers now, where Kobe played for so many years, and Kobe congratulated him when he passed the record, and that was kind of like a big deal. Like that was really cool. Yeah, that was really cool. Like that he passed the torch on to him, right after he broke his record, and this happened yesterday. This was yesterday.
The record was broken yesterday?
Yeah, yeah. LeBron broke that scoring record yesterday, and lo and behold, like a day later, this happened, and I
Good sportsmanship.
yeah, I thought it was too. I remember when I saw it. Um, I remember thinking about how LeBron and Kobe used to have this big rivalry, and I was like, okay, so that's good. They buried the hatchet because for a long time those two guys didn't seem to get along at all. They didn't seem to like each other very much, and so Kobe's gone, and I think about the things that have crossed my brain as it pertains to Kobe. I remember when Kobe first got to the NBA, and if you remember, Kobe started playing really young. He was like 17 when he joined the NBA, and I remember that I remember him getting married, and I remember worrying like, oh, you're 19, you get married. Well, that could be that's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be tough to
They
hold it.
stayed together.
They did stay
That's
together. They did,
beautiful.
and they fought, and they had a couple controversies, which I'm not gonna really talk too much about because he just passed, and I ain't trying to stomp on the man's grave at all on any level. But they gave him a lot of shit, and what was really cool about him and awesome was that he was a guy that it was able to really rise above that. Like he actually surpassed, like he was actually able to overcome that controversy. He actually was one of the few black athletes I saw who was able to really have his reputation like deliberately like smashed by white people, and he came back from that. Like the fact that he came back from that, I thought was really great, and and he deserved it. I mean, and I remember also the other thing about Kobe is actually Mark Lamont Hill. A lot of people don't know Mark Lamont Hill and I. We were always very good friends, and I still don't hate Mark. Mark and I don't agree on things, but we have a difference of opinion from time to time. But Mark is a really good basketball player, and I remember Mark telling me about Kobe back in Philly, where he used to play against Kobe, a few times, and he said Kobe. I guess they used to play something where it was like one on one, where basically the first person that scores wins. And it was weird, right? He said Kobe is the only player he ever played against where he was never able to score 1 point against Kobe. He said I never scored a single point against Kobe ever because he was like that ferocious and like that tenacious of a player. Like this dude was great to watch. I don't know if y'all had a chance to really watch Kobe like at his peak or even beyond his peak. He was such a great athlete and such a great competitor. And and I also remember what stood out about him was the fact that he was very smart. Like I think that he knows Italian, right? Is it
He
Italian?
grew up overseas. Remember his parents?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I really think that black parents, that have passports should consider raising their kids overseas.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, because then their brain is a little bit more expanded. They're able to kind of see the world a little bit different. They're able to become whatever they want. Whereas in the United States, they kind of limit what you can do and what you can be, especially if you're talking about like a black man or whatever. So anyway, we're talking about Kobe Bryant, who just passed. Rest his soul. This is a guy that I can't think of. I mean, I think that when he went out, what was really cool for him also is that it's like nobody really said too many bad things about him at all. Like I don't remember, like honestly, even Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan retired, there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, he's a great player, but he's a motherfucker.
As a person.
Right? Like as a human being, fuck you. You like that was their reaction to Mike. Whereas with Kobe, I just don't remember people saying, anything negative or in general about him. Even the big scandal was kind of pushed to the side, So his helicopter crash, man. Wow. So does anybody have any more details? Or is he just seeing something besides the hood will open their minds?
Mhm.
Yeah, something outside of the hood. Absolutely. Yeah, Kobe was raised, overseas and traveled the world. So
Mhm.
he didn't come into the NBA as like some kid who had never really seen anything. He actually had been exposed to a lot of things globally. I think his father was Jelly Bean Bryant, was that his name? And his father was a professional basketball player. And so it does make a big deal or make a big difference with children. My brother's raising his daughter in another country, and I encourage you guys. Even if you can't raise your child in another country, I know that that's hard for some people to do, but if you can at least expose them, like we take our kids out of the country as much as we can, and it makes a big difference. Like they'll come back and we'll see a difference in terms of how they see things because they've been overseas. Now the thing for them is they don't even know it makes a difference. Like they're not
I have
even,
no idea.
they're literally not cognizant to that at all.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they just don't give a shit at this point. But we
But
see,
other people can see it too.
yep, other people can
They
definitely
don't
see it.
know because it's their everyday life.
Yeah, well, and then I think the other thing too is it's like, in addition to that, it's almost like I think other people can see it, and the cool thing is like when they get older, the girls won't be impressed by some guy that can like fly them to Las Vegas for the weekend. It sets a standard in terms of what they expect for themselves. And I think that a black person who can seamlessly go, from one country to the next is usually going to feel a lot more freedom than somebody who feels like they just have to be stuck with whatever situation that they're in. Like the world is a lot bigger than just the United States and Donald Trump and white supremacy. Like there's a whole big world out there. So I think that Kobe's parents exposed them to that, made a difference. So the things that really stood out to me with Kobe were not just his great athletic gifts. There's a lot of talented players out here. Um, it was also his psychological attitude. Like I remember taking notes when I was younger and seeing like, okay, this guy is 100% every time he goes out in the court. Everything he does, he's 100%. He's fearless. He works himself to the point of exhaustion. In fact, I remember one time watching Kobe after he'd lost. I don't know if he'd lost the NBA Finals or just gotten eliminated from the playoffs, and he's all sad, because he just lost. And the commentator's like, "So Kobe, what are you gonna do now?" And he was like, just I'm just gonna go to the gym and just work to the point of exhaustion and come back next year. And that's what he did. Like he just came back and I think he won the next title or whatever. But that's what it.
Racism is different in different countries. It's a
Mm,
special kind of racism here.
yeah,
Don't
that's
you
true.
think? It's just
Well, I
different.
can tell the difference between white people who were raised here and white people raised in other countries.
Mhm.
Usually, if I meet a white person who treats black people like we're human beings, I like literally like we're equal to them.
They're from another land.
They're usually from somewhere else. Like seriously, I don't know if anybody else notices
Oh
that,
yeah.
but yeah, usually when white people are not just nicer, because all even racist white people can be nice, but it's something about treating you like you're not some sort of foreign object or like you're some sort of alien, or they're not uncomfortable around you naturally, whatever. Like white folks that are comfortable with us, they do kind of you can tell, like I can instantly tell. I had a friend, her name was Krista, and she was a PhD student. And I remember that she was just really not just cool with the black people, but she treated the black people the way she treated everybody else. And I said, "Tell me your background." And it turned out her father was she was a military brat. So she lived in different countries.
Oh,
So
there
she
we
saw,
go.
there you
Saw
go.
black
Right,
people.
right. And people who
Yeah.
do that, people who are raised like that, they see racism like that. Like they
Yeah.
come over here and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Crazy.
Yeah, like Noma Langa talked about that. Noma Langa was like, when she was on the faculty at that school, she was my friend Noma Langa Mushali Moses. She was like, she said every day I would be in their office like what is this? This is this is ridiculous. And she said the black people be like, oh, you can't do that. You better not do that. Your boss gonna get mad. Like they were doing the whole slave, bug-eyed slave
They
routine.
don't get it at all.
Yeah, and
Like,
she
what
was
is
like,
that?
no, this is not fair. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. This doesn't make it because she grew up in Botswana and her father's a multimillionaire, so she's used to not just being treated fairly, but she's used to being treated like royalty. So she was black. She's like a black Karen. She went Karen on their ass, like
Me too.
right, and did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it does make a difference. But anyway, let me read more about this. President Trump just tweeted about Kobe's death. He says reports are the basketball great Kobe Bryant and 3 others have been killed in a helicopter crash in California. That is terrible news.
That's so
I'm not laughing.
insightful.
That sounds like a Trump statement, right?
Yeah.
He ain't eloquent. At least Obama was eloquent, right? I mean, because say what you want about Barack, but at least he knew how to come up with the right words.
It
I mean,
is terrible news.
absolutely. Kobe's daughter, Gianna Maria Honore, this is according to TMZ, aka Gigi, was also on board the helicopter and died.
No, that is so tragic. Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh
Oh man. Wow.
This is the saddest thing. This is the saddest day.
So she was 13. So his daughter died.
Oh my goodness.
They were on their way to the Mamba Academy for a basketball practice when the crash occurred. The academy is nearby Thousand Oaks.
No.
Man, this is
awful. Oh my goodness.
wow. So it says Kobe Bryant died in a crash in Calabasas Sunday morning. TMZ Sports has confirmed Kobe was traveling with at least 3 others in his private helicopter when it went down. A fire broke out. Emergency personnel responded, but no one on board survived. 5 people are confirmed dead. We're told that Vanessa Bryant was not among those on board. His wife,
Oh,
yeah,
thank goodness.
yeah, his daughter died, but not his wife. Eyewitnesses also tell us that they heard the helicopter's engine sputtering before it went down. As you can see, flames and smoke covering much of the scene from the wreck. The official cause of death is currently under investigation, or cause of the crash. So what I'm gonna do is share my screen with you guys so you can see what I'm looking at here.
Damn, didn't Whitney Houston die the day of the Grammys?
Whoa, did she?
I think she died. Oh my goodness.
That's
Let me not get into that.
yeah. I didn't know Whitney. I didn't know Whitney died. Did Whitney Houston die the day of the Grammys? Do you guys know?
I want to say it was a Grammys party.
Wow. Well,
That's-
here's what you see that there's smoke coming up, and this is I guess that smoke right there is where the helicopter crash took place. So they said Kobe has famously used his helicopter to travel for years, dating back to when he played for the Lakers. He was known for commuting from Newport Beach, California to the Staples Center in DTLA in his Sikorsky S-76 chopper. Kobe is survived by his wife, Vanessa. Together, they have 4 daughters, Gianna, Natalia, and Bianca, and their newborn, Capri.
Oh, boy.
Kobe and Vanessa got married in 2001. After meeting in 1999, a memorial to Kobe has already sprung up outside the Staples Center where Kobe played for years. Kobe has recently been spotted at NBA games with his daughter, Gianna, who's a rising star herself. The youngest daughter, Capri, was just born June 2019.
Oh,
Kobe's widely considered one of the greatest NBA players of all time, making 18 All-Star teams during his 20-year career with the Lakers. He was a first-round pick in the '96 draft, winning 5 NBA championships, 2 NBA Finals MVPs, and was league MVP in 2008. He was on 15 All-NBA teams, 12 All-Defensive teams, and led the league in scoring for 2 seasons. He ranks 4th in the NBA for all-time regular season scoring and all-time postseason scoring. He also repped USA in a number of Olympic appearances. The Lakers famously retired both of Kobe's jerseys, number 8 and number 24. He's the only player in team history to receive that honor. Kobe's accomplishments stand far outside of the basketball world. He won an Oscar for his short film Dear Basketball in 2018. I want to watch that.
Yeah,
On Saturday, LeBron James passed Kobe as 3rd on the NBA all-time NBA scoring list. He paid tribute to Bron on Instagram. His last post saying, "quote on to number 2, King James. Keep growing the game and charting the path for the next." So what I'm gonna do?
That's great.
Yeah, that's good. He went out nice. He went out good. You know, you never know when your last moments are here. You know, so you got to always be ready for that. You know, that's the thing. Live every day like it's your last. So that's a picture of LeBron and Kobe. With LeBron, I guess he's patting LeBron on the shoulder.
They have such respect for each other. You know?
Yeah, it wasn't
So
always
great.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
when LeBron first got in the league, there was hella competition between the two of them. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, because they're both like ferocious competitors. And so LeBron came in, and I remember having intensive conversations with people about LeBron. Like my friend George. George is a professor at Georgetown University. He's in the finance department. And he loves basketball too. He actually played at University of Chicago, which probably means he wasn't very good.
Like
But right, right, because Chicago's not known for their basketball. But I'm talking to a University of Chicago alum, by the way. That's why it's funny. But I remember we argued about how good LeBron was going to be, and I said, this guy, I saw him play in the high school All-Star game. He's going to be awesome. And George was like, no, he's not good. He's just going to be like everybody else. He's not. I said, no, he's going to be great. This guy, I've never seen a high school player do what he does. He's going to be amazing. And lo and behold, so I think about 2 years later, I called him back and was like, I told you I was right.
Told you so.
I told you so.
You were right.
Yeah. So Kobe and LeBron had a pretty strong rivalry going on for a while. They said at age 34, Kobe became the youngest player in NBA history to surpass the 30,000 point mark. Speaking of putting up points, the guy was notorious for his 81-point game against the Toronto Raptors in 2006. It was one of the greatest performances in modern NBA history. Another major highlight from his long career was his final game in 2016 against Utah, where he dropped 60 points and went out with a bang to help his team win. It was especially moving considering his injury-plagued years, which started in 2013 when he tore his Achilles tendon. He was 41 years old.
How great.
Yeah. I think, it's sad to see a person go at this point in their life, right? He's a father, he has so many years left. And, but you know what I think about? I think about like other great black men, like somebody like a Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King died, I think, 38, if I'm not mistaken. He was very young. And what I really respect about these guys, even though you don't know how much time you have, I think about this because I always think about death. I think, okay, if I die tomorrow, have I really lived my best life? Really, did you really leave it all out on the court, so to speak? And so I respect these guys and admire them because even though they didn't have the amount of time they deserved, they used that time like a motherfucker. Like they really maximized what they had. And
big impact.
Yeah.
Big impact.
Right. So I know people that live to 80 ain't did shit because they're too scared to try to do anything new, don't want to expand themselves, don't want to push. Whereas Tupac is another example. 25, my God, like that's super young. But Tupac lives forever. Tupac will never die. Like he's here forever. Like Martin Luther King will never die.
Kobe Bryant is here forever.
Kobe Bryant will never die. Jimi Hendrix will never die.
Boys, you'll never die.
I hope not.
You made that much of an impact. I think you'd be for.
I don't want to die.
I'm gonna create a bust of you and put you everywhere.
Okay, well, people are watching, so they're gonna hold you to that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh. I'm laughing because it's sad. Sometimes you laugh to keep from feeling so sad, but I think I did get to the point where I wasn't scared to death anymore because I did start thinking about that. Like, when we started doing more stuff, I was like, what if the government just, did a fake drive-by and had some gangsters just come up and shoot me down and pretend like it was just some black on black violence. And I was like, man, okay, so am I prepared for that? Like, I thought about life insurance and estate planning. Yeah, I'm pretty prepared, not exactly as prepared as I want to be, but I'm getting there. But also in terms of did I really live my life? Did I go out my way? Yeah. If I went out today, I get on airplanes and I'm not scared at all. Because if I died tomorrow, I would go down and be like, fuck, this is going to suck. It's going to be painful. But then I'd be thinking, you know what? I left it on the court. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing. Like you can't just sit and be sad about a death. Like you should be, right? But you also are supposed to learn from that. You're supposed to grow from that. And I think the learning and the growing thing is that tomorrow is never promised for anybody, even though we think that it's going to be there. It's not promised. So you got to leave it on the court. And Kobe left it on the court.
This is a reminder. Everything you feel like you want to do, why not just do it? Because you never know. Your day could be the last day.
Absolutely.
Just go and do it.
The future is always now. The future is always now.
Right.
Like that's the thing. I learned that, I noticed one thing I noticed a long time ago is that a lot of us we put stuff off to the future as if the future is separate from the present. Like we were like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it one day. And what I've told people is stop playing at level 1, go to level 2. Stop saying one day and say 2 day.
Just do it.
Like, right. Not 1, go to 2, right? So instead of doing it one day, I'm gonna do it 2 day, because the future and the present are connected, right? So like, for example, if I say in the future, this ink pen is going to drop to the table, right? So in the future, this ink pen is going to drop to the table, right? Everybody got that? Okay, so boom, we're here. We're in the future now. Now, the question becomes, what's the difference between when I was holding the pen here and when I dropped it here, right? One was the present, one was the future, but they're really the fucking same. That's the point. I hope y'all can get what I'm doing here. Like, I'm really trying to be deep. It's a deep point, but I want y'all to really get it. That future that you're putting off, that you think is disconnected from the present,
it's right now.
It's right there. It's connected. It's connected. So if you want to understand what your future is going to look like, then look at your life right now, and that will tell you a lot about what your future is going to look like, especially when you look at your choices, your habits, and what you do on a day-to-day basis. Like, if you want to know your future, then look at your present and look at what you're doing right now every day. That will tell you about your future. So don't put stuff off to one day. Go from level 1 to level 2. You want to be a level 2 motherfucker. Like Kobe Bryant was level 2, level 3, level 4. Don't not one day, go 2 day. Kobe Bryant, when he was on that court, every time he stepped out there, he gave 150%, no holds barred ever. And that's why Kobe Bryant will never die. That's why Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest athletes in the history of this country, the history of the world. And that's why I think, I think that's why I applaud him. That's what I applaud him for. So let me see here. I'm going to hit.
One of the greatest. Yeah.
I'm going to read. Let's see what the LA Times has to say. The legendary basketball star Kobe Bryant, who spent 20 years with the Lakers, was killed in a helicopter crash as his helicopter burst into flames in the hills above Calabasas. Sources told the LA Times. Bryant's death stunned Los Angeles and the sports world. Let's see here. The crash occurred shortly after 10 a.m. near Los Varengas Road, south of Agora Road. Bryant was in Philadelphia last night to watch LeBron James pass him for third on the NBA's all-time scoring list. James set the record in the third quarter of the Lakers' 108-91 loss to the Sixers, scoring 33,655 points for his career. Bryant was born in Philadelphia. His father, Joe, played 8 seasons in the 1970s and 80s for the Sixers, also for the Clippers. And in his last stop, the Houston Rockets, under then coach Del Harris, a lighthearted 6'10" string bean who went by his Philadelphia playground name Jelly Bean Joe Bryant. Joe Bryant played college ball at LaSalle and married Pam Cox, the sister of a starting guard at Villanova. So that's maybe explains.
Both parents were talented.
Both parents were athletes. So that genetics is in full effect right there. They named their first son Kobe after a city in Japan. Okay. Bryant excelled at Lower Merion High School in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia, winning numerous national awards as a senior before announcing his intention to skip college and enter the NBA draft. I think all these guys should skip college and go to the draft and go play pro somewhere, because the NCAA is a big ripoff. He was selected 13th by the Charlotte Hornets in '96, but the Lakers had already worked out a deal with the Hornets to acquire Bryant before his selection. Bryant impressed Lakers GM Jerry West during a pre-draft workout session in Los Angeles. Less than 3 weeks later, the Lakers traded starting center Vlade Divac to the Hornets in exchange for Bryant's rights. Well, shit, the Hornets lost out on that deal.
Sure
Vlade Divac wasn't bad, but he wasn't no Kobe Bryant. Bryant, whose favorite team growing up was the Lakers, had to have his parents co-sign his NBA contract.
That's right.
Because he was 17 years old. I know, right? The 6'6" guard made his pro debut in the 1996-97 season opener against Minnesota. At the time, he was the youngest player ever to appear in an NBA game. He started in only a handful of games during his rookie season, coming off the bench in support of Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones. Anybody remember Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones? Those are some great guys. Van Exel he always had the eyebrows that were cut. And then Eddie Jones was a bad boy that played at Philadelphia. He played at Temple in Philadelphia. It was him and Aaron McKee, and I remember them because they beat Louisville. They beat the shit out of Louisville one year when Louisville was really, really good. Louisville was my team. I remember that. Yeah. Anyway, let me keep reading. However, Coach Del Harris played him more as the season progressed, allowing Bryant to showcase the skills that made him a top candidate for Rookie of the Year. Those skills were on display when Bryant won the 97 slam dunk competition. Anybody remember the young Kobe was so different from the older Kobe? Like the young Kobe was like, he would take a lot of crazy shots. He always wanted to dunk over people, and he would show you this athletic ability, but he would show you like this chaotic style of like a high school kid.
That's so exciting to watch, though.
It was cool to watch, but it was very frustrating if you were like a Lakers fan. You know, you're like, okay, did you really have to shoot that half court shot? You know, or shoot from 5 feet beyond the 3-point line when the center is wide open? Like Kobe would do stuff like that. Yeah. So you know, one of the sad things that I thought about with Kobe's career is that when him and Shaq played together, like they really had something special. Like they really had something special, similar to what Jordan and Pippen had with the Bulls, what your boy over at the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson had with Jerry Jones with the Cowboys in the 90s, and with what the Patriots have, like pretty much the last 5 or 6 years, right? Like you have these dynasties in sports where teams come together and they're amazing. And what made me sad was that, similar to the Cowboys, that like they made the mistake of not being able to just get along and like ride that horse. Like the Bulls were smart. The Bulls were like, we need each other. Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, they were like, we need each other to keep this thing going. The Patriots were smart. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are like, we need each other. We also need all those black guys that are playing defense. So they pretty much stay together. The Cowboys and the Lakers, I think egos got into play. Like a lot of times when everybody's winning, your egos get big and everybody thinks they can do it all by themselves. And I feel that Kobe and Shaq, even though they both did find success individually, I think they almost reminded me, I don't know, maybe like when New Edition broke up, right? And Bobby Brown's like, it's my prerogative, right? You know, and New Edition's over here doing okay, but they were better when they were together, and they did come back together. Or like even with Death Row Records, you know, you had Snoop and Dre and Tupac all together, you know, under one label, which was amazing, right? Or NWA had all those, you know, and then they separated. They all did okay individually, but you kind of felt like you really had it, like you really had the golden goose, like right there. Like, so I feel like with Kobe and Shaq, they had the golden goose. And I hated the fact that they were fighting each other, because I think if they had stayed together, say 5-6 more years, I think they could have won 5 or 6 more championships, because they needed each other. So keep that in mind. Like any of you who start businesses or try to build anything with your family or friends, if you get something that starts working, put your ego to the side and remember that maintaining your relationship with the winning team, with the other players on your winning team, is key to your survival. That's key to your long-term success. So don't just throw it all away because you're mad at somebody. So Bryant continued to improve his sophomore season in the league, averaging 15 points a game. However, his breakout came in the Lakers lockout shortened 1998-99 season, when he started in all 50 games for the Lakers, and the Lakers traded away Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones. Bryant and the leading scorer Shaquille O'Neal quickly morphed into one of the most lethal and defensive combinations in the league. Together with Coach Phil Jackson guiding them, they led the Lakers to 3 straight championships as Bryant began to cement his place as the game's top player. Despite coming together to win some of the most closely fought playoff series in Lakers history, friction started to develop between Bryant and O'Neal. Tension between the two stars continued to build during the 2003-2004 season as the Lakers failed to capitalize on their status as top contenders for the NBA title. See what I said? See what I was talking about? Making matters worse, Bryant was arrested in July 2003 on allegations of, I don't even want to talk about it. Y'all know what happened in 2003. We ain't got to talk about that. They said the charges were eventually dropped, but Bryant's reputation took a hit. After the Lakers lost to Detroit in the NBA Finals with a star-studded team that included Karl Malone and Gary Payton, O'Neal was traded to Miami, and Jackson's coaching contract was not renewed. As the team's undisputed leader, Bryant signed a 7-year contract to remain with the team. Bryant summed up the tensions between him and O'Neal after the Lakers won the NBA title in 2009. We're great as individuals, but it's probably the first dynamic duo that had 2 alpha males on one team. We managed to make it work for 3 championships. Bryant posted some of the best offensive numbers of his career over the next 3 seasons, but the team struggled, failing to make the playoffs in 2005 before suffering consecutive first-round defeats to Phoenix in 06 and 07. Jackson returned to the team for 05-06, and Bryant went on to lead the league in scoring that season with a career-best 35.4 average. He scored 40 points or more in 27 games and became the first player since Wilt Chamberlain in 1964 to finish with 45 points or more in 4 straight games. His biggest single game achievement came in January 22nd, 2006 against Toronto, when he scored a career-high 81 points, the second most in NBA history. Earlier that season, on December 20th, 2005, he scored 62 points in 33 minutes through 3/4 of a game against Dallas. He had outscored the entire Mavericks team 62-61 entering the final quarter, in which Bryant did not play. Bryant continued to impress during the 06-07 season, scoring 50 or more points in a team record 10 games and averaging 31.6 points a game to capture his second NBA scoring title. So there's more in here to talk about. And I just thought that it would be really a good way to say goodbye to Kobe by talking about the fact that he lived his life at the highest level. He really, to me, I think he lived as a champion. He went out as a champion. And I want to remind you guys, it's all really more so about you than it is about us or even him or anybody else. I encourage you to live your best life. Like really, you just don't know when it's going to all come to an end. And I encourage you, whatever it is you've been putting off, whatever it is you've been scared to do, whatever it is you think you're going to do later, later is not promised to you. I want you to start living your life now because you never know when this is going to come to an end. So I'll keep you guys posted if I hear anything interesting. It's only, I'm looking at my watch because it's only a matter of time before white media starts to go and dig dirt up and starts to trash his brother's legacy. I believe that that's what they're probably going to do. They're probably going to do entire, surviving R. Kelly like documentaries about that lady that he allegedly slept with back in 2003. The same lady who actually, I think she had slept with 2 or 3 other guys in the last 48 hours or something ridiculous like that. And so, I'm going to ignore all of that. I'm just going to remember the brother's legacy, wish well for his family, and just say, this is sad, man. This is really, really sad. So anyway, feel free to leave comments. Let me know what you think. I'm about to bounce out, go spend time with my family. And I love you guys, and I hope you have a great day. And I will talk to you soon. Be good. Peace.